Team in Oreva is like official IoT and robotics club of NIT Jamshedpur. Our team includes like mostly 4 domains, that is IoT and robotics, web development, app development, and machine learning / AI. So like you might be thinking that why we need so many things in a single team. So like we all know that nowadays everything is linked and we have lots of data from the sensors. That's why we are trying to use machine learning along with IoT so that we can process the sensor data and process it with the help of machine learning and then use web applications or native Android or iOS application for the user to interact. So like let me briefly tell you what we will be going through today. So initially I will be telling you a bit about my team and some of our achievements as well as our projects. I am sure that most of you already know about the basics of electronics and like all of you know about Arduino. Like Arduino is a very simple. So we will be going very quickly around the Arduino board and then we will be like discussing few of our projects and that will be it. Okay. So yeah, so Team IRIA is the official IoT applications and implementation team of NIT Jamshedpur. So our faculty in charge and mentor, so Dr. Jayendra sir is our faculty advisor, Ayush sir is our mentor, and we have Basudev sir as a co-professor in charge. In the core members, I am the president. Since this is our summer holiday, none of the other members are available in campus right now. Sharon, MSV Sharon, who has worked on almost all the projects that I will be showing you. He handles the coding section of it. So these are the 4 departments. Like in BTech student, like we try to, in the first year only, we conduct lots of workshop related to Arduino and IoT in general. We also have machine learning and AI workshops so that from the first semester itself, the students get to know, get to connect with IoT. So we have conducted like few Arduino workshops, robotics workshop, and we also had an exhibition at DRDO Chandipur, in which we also received the Best Student Exhibitor Award. Okay. So yeah, going to the achievements. So like most recent one is in February we won the Best Student Exhibitor Award in DRDO, like ICORT, which was conducted in DRDO Chandipur. We presented 3 of our projects. One of them was drone-based high-rise structure painting equipment, a portable smart safety device with locket based on IoT. In the first workshop, in the first lecture, one of our mentioned that we use smart with almost all of the IoT device. The thing is, there is no proper definition of like using a smart. Smart can be used everywhere. If you will like find the proper documentation, you won't find anything like that is properly describing where you can use the word smart. Most of the devices and companies are using smart with anything that has IoT in it, smart fridge and all that. But there is no actual definition of using smart in any of the devices. So in some of the machine learning competitions also that some of our team members participated, they won first position in Pickle.aml competition and 4th position in IIT Hyderabad ML competition. We have one of our research paper on NLP text summarization. Although like I don't have any members that can go in detail about these, we will only be touching the IoT and robotics section of it. So yeah, Internet of Things, जैसे कि सबने like बोला कि Internet of Things क्या है? So basically कोई भी चीज़ जो interconnected है, like जब IoT आया था, IoT I think 2013 onward smart devices और ये सब use कर रहे हैं. उससे पहले almost सारी चीज़ें थे. ऐसा नहीं था कि हमारे पास sensors नहीं था, sensors था. Like basic जो भी IoT के components है, more or less वो हम लोग सब use कर रहे थे. Street lights था, थोड़े बहुत automation थे, but like हम लोग धीरे धीरे चीज़ों को ज़्यादा कनेक्ट करते रह गए. एक सेंसर बाहर है जो कि मे बी चेक कर रहा है कि सनराइज हुआ या नहीं है, वो डेटा को सेंड कर रहा है किसी और डिवाइस को, वो मे बी लाइट को ऑन करेगा ऑफ करेगा. आजकल जितने भी कार्स हैं, कार्स के जो कीज़ है, कार्स आजकल काफ़ी ज़्यादा कनेक्टेड है. मोस्ट ऑफ देम हैज़ अ सिम कार्ड इंस्टॉल्ड इन इट and most of the companies have an Android app. With the help of that, you can lock or unlock your car from anywhere. These are like all IoT devices. So in car, a lot of systems are there. For example, remote locking and unlocking. Also, with the help of, like, nowadays, if you have a application installed on your phone, if you move out from your home and your AC is on or any other electrical appliances is on, it will automatically detect that you are not at your home or your room, and it will automatically turn it off. These are some of the things that are very small, but it can like put a great impact on a lot of things. Like, we can reduce energy bills by a lot if we simply turn off the lights and fans when no one is in the room. Like, I know that most of our parents already tell us to do so, कि जब भी रूम से निकलो लाइट एंड फैन ऑफ कर दो. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम कर देते हैं, बट काफ़ी बार हम लोग नहीं कर पाते हैं. सो अगर हम लोग ऑटोमेट कर देते हैं तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो काफ़ी आजकल, लाइक 9 वाट के एलईडी बल्ब्स हैं, काफ़ी कम है. पहले 100 वाट्स था, तब तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा इशू होता था. 9 वाट्स हैं. झारखंड में करेंटली जो गवर्नमेंट है वो लाइक 100 यूनिट्स का बिजली फ्री में देता है. सो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द घर को वो क्रॉस भी नहीं करना पड़ता है. बट स्टिल 100 यूनिट्स भी कम नहीं है. लाइक अगर प्रॉपरली हम लोग सेव करना चाहे तो IoT के हेल्प से हम लोग काफ़ी कुछ सेव कर सकते हैं. मोस्ट ऑफ द स्ट्रीट लाइट्स जो हम लोग कैंपस में हैं, लाइक इस कैंपस में भी काफ़ी सारे स्ट्रीट लाइट्स हैं जो कि अपग्रेड हुए हैं. कुछ साल पहले वहाँ पे हैलोजन वाले थे, अभी वो स्ट्रीट लाइट्स अपग्रेड हो गए हैं, बट उसको और अपग्रेड किया जा सकता है. तो ऐसे छोटे छोटी चीज़, एंड ये सब ऐसा नहीं कि काफ़ी एक्सपेंसिव होता है. लाइक जब हम लोग अपने प्रोजेक्ट शो करेंगे तो उसमें लाइक कुछ बहुत अलग सा हार्डवेयर डिज़ाइन नहीं है. काफ़ी बेसिक टूल्स को यूज़ करके ही मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट्स हमारा बनाया हुआ है. सो मशीन लर्निंग, लाइक हम लोग जो सेंसर्स के डेटा हैं उसको प्रोसेस करके एंड कर सकते हैं. सिमिलरली वेब डेवलपमेंट से हमारा लिंक्ड है, कॉज जितने भी स्मार्ट डिवाइसेस हैं, जितने भी डिवाइसेस हैं आजकल, सबको को हम लोग लाइक यूजुअली बटन्स एंड LCD डिस्प्लेस के थ्रू मोस्ट ऑफ द डिवाइसेस को हम लोग कंट्रोल करते हैं. बट सिंस आजकल सबके पास स्मार्टफोन्स है, काफ़ी सारे डिवाइसेस में, फॉर एग्जांपल एक बेसिक सा चार्जर ले लें. ड्रोन्स में यूज़ होने वाले जो लिपो बैटरी के चार्जर हैं, वो पहले उसमें लाइक नॉर्मल बटन्स होते थे. आजकल सब कोई ब्लूटूथ दे रहा है. यू कैन हैव अ एंड्रॉयड ऐप and you can see the exact status of each and every cell in your lipo battery. You can also see a lot of other information of the same. These are the small things. So for using the, like, for the user interface, you can have a web app. Like most of the open source softwares, like for controlling the LEDs, we have a WLED, which is a web app, and for many other things we have a separate Android app. So yeah, for the basics, like we need C, C++, HTML, CSS, JavaScript and JSON. So I hope that everyone is familiar that why we need all these languages to make a device. So C and C++ for like coding section, HTML, CSS, JavaScript for like basic user interface, and JSON for handling the data. Arduino IDE is one of the softwares. So before beginning, like, let's make this session little bit more interactive. So can anyone tell me that what Arduino is? Like, anyone can raise your hand and tell me, like, what is Arduino? Okay, anyone else? Like, when I asked that how many of you know Arduino, lots of people raised that yeah, they know. So like, simple question, what is Arduino? Anyone? First, yes, you guys can also answer. Like, anyone can raise your hand and answer it. Okay. So Arduino is not exactly one thing. When we are seeing Arduino IDE, this is like a development platform. When we are talking about the Arduino development board, like that is a basic development board. Arduino is also having its own community, and Arduino is a company. So what is special about Arduino? Like, there are lots of development boards. But why are we like most of the projects that you will see online is around the Arduino? Like, one thing is very unique about Arduino. So what is that reason because Arduino got so popular? Can anyone guess? Okay, so this will be a non-interactive session. So basically what happens is Arduino is open source. Softwares we all know about. I'm sure all of you know that what is open source hardware. So Arduino is basically open source software as well as hardware. The Arduino IDE is also open source, and the Arduino all the Arduino boards are also open source. So because of that, anyone can make their Arduino boards, and that's why it is very popular. Since it is open source, most of the codes are also open source and people share them. So the reason for the success of Arduino boards is because of its open source in nature, and many people are making projects, they are sharing their projects, they are sharing what the problems they are facing. So but it's not necessary to like use Arduino IDE. We can also program Arduino with the help of very popular Microsoft VS Code. So these are some of the like components. So Arduino family, like we are familiar with Arduino Uno. Can how many of you have actually used like recently used Arduino Uno? Or any of the Arduino boards? Okay. So which Arduino did you use? Why Arduino Uno? Like there are lots of Arduinos. Why Arduino Uno? Like okay. So like yeah, the most famous one is the Arduino Uno, which has like who can give me like first years give me specifications of Arduino Uno. Okay, stand up. Okay, like, not that magician. Clock speed. Okay, so clock speed is 16 megahertz, and we have I think 14 digital pins and 6 analog. What if we need more? Like if we will consider a 3D printer that has got like 3 motors for the axis and 3 stepper motors, one hot end and one extruder, and some other sensors for like checking whether it has reached the end stop. So for some of the projects, Arduino Uno is not enough. Arduino Leonardo is almost similar, just the IC is different, and we have a smaller USB port. Then we have some other boards. Arduino Mega is used for any project that requires more input and output. We have Arduinos with inbuilt Ethernet and Wi-Fi. Moving on, like this is the Arduino board. I guess everyone is familiar with. So okay. So how many of you are familiar with this board? Like with the hardware of this board? Like you all have used Arduino Uno or any other Arduino board. How many of you can actually tell me the hardware section of this board? Like yeah, this is the USB port, this is the main IC, and these are the digital pins, but lots of other things are there. And since being like this is mostly focused around IoT and robotics, so can anyone like guess what this section is for? These are 2 capacitors and this is a regulator. So the power, how many, like 3 power source we have, USB, DC jack, and we can power through it the pin. So USB is giving 5 volt, Atmega 328 is also works around 5 volt. So this is the regulator that first converts the 6 to I guess 20 volts we can use, but it is recommended around 12 only. So which we can use, we have some capacitors for filtering out, and then we can use this. Same with the, can someone tell me what this is and what this is used for in Arduino? Like if you will ask me, this is also a microcontroller only. That is I guess, it's not visible, but I think it's 16U2. This is very near to the USB port. Can anyone guess what this is for? Yeah, uploading code, like, but why we need that? Why don't we directly connect it? Okay. Okay, so I'm assuming that a lot of people have used this board, but
because we directly do it, sometimes what is the pin get broken. That's the reason we use
no, I'm not asking about the USB port. I'm talking about this IC that, yeah.
I guess it is DSP.
No. We don't need actually a DSP. So, David, why is this IC used for?
It converts USB to TTL.
Yes. Yes. So Atmega 3 to 8 works on TTL. It does not support USB natively. So that's why we have a converter. It takes the USB, it converts it into TTL, and then it goes there. We have some serial pins also. Like all of you are familiar with the serial communication protocol, SPI, UART. Okay, so basically RX and TX, these two pins are there. They are for UART. What is the full form of UART? Universal asynchronous. Yeah, receiver transfer. How it works? Are you guys familiar with it? Like, okay. So universal. The next one is asynchronous.
It does not require any clock.
Yeah, it does not require a clock for synchronization. That way, asynchronous. And then receiver and transmitter. So it is very simple. We need only 3 pins: TX, RX, and a ground for like reference voltage. We also have OC pins. Yeah, SPI is also there, which we can use, and these are also the pins that can be used as SPI. And I2C pin is also there. Although one thing to note is these RX and TX pins are also near this IC. These are the same pins. So what's happening is once like these RX and TX pin is also used for programming the Arduino. But these pins are also available there. So what is the problem? See, since this is IC, we want to like put maximum things into a single chip. So what we usually do is we use one pin for multiple purpose. We only program this Arduino like once or twice. If you are like deploying it in a place, you only need to program it once. So once it's programmed, this RX and TX pin is available for use. Although there are like, since like initially when Arduino was made, a lot of libraries were not there, but now you can like use software serial also. With the help of it, you can use any of the digital pin as RX and TX pins. Okay, so moving forward, this is more detail about the Arduino chip, in which I will only ask one question. You also said that there is Atmega 328P. This what is this P for? Can anyone guess? Like only Atmega 328 is also available. 328P is also available. What is that P for?
देखिए ये हैंड्स ऑन ट्रेनिंग सेशन है. अगर आप लोग जितनी ज़्यादा टू वे कम्युनिकेशन होगा, इट विल बी बेटर फॉर यू. ज़्यादा सीखिए,
Low power.
ट्राई कीजिए, गलत
So
होगा तो
basically
गलती
this
होगी.
P
ठीक है?
is for low power.
ट्राई कीजिए.
लाइक मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, मैं बिल्कुल श्योर नहीं हूँ कि मैं बहुत बेसिक्स बता रहा हूँ या नहीं समझ में आ रहा. तो लाइक आप लोग इंटरेक्ट कीजिएगा तो मेरे को पता रहेगा कि लाइक सही स्पीड है या नहीं. ये बोरिंग सा चीज़ है. लेट्स मूव. Analog and digital signals, I am assuming that everyone knows the difference. Everyone knows the difference of analog and digital signals. Okay, moving forward. PWM. Like yeah, PWM. There are lots of PWM pins in Arduino. What is the difference between normal digital pins and PWM pin in Arduino? Who can answer? Anyone who has used Arduino Uno before? There are some PWM pins and there are some normal pins. Like if you will see this image.
If you want to control this speed, then you use PWM.
Yes.
If you want only the on or off,
Yeah.
like message, you can use PWM.
Yes. So basically these like we can also try to use PWM in other pins also, but it will be a lengthier process. Since you can do it on or off, you can write a program with a delay. But with the help of these pins, okay. So these are the 5 PWM pins. Okay. So you said we used it to control speed. What will happen? Okay, a very simple question. If you have a DC motor, you have a 5 volt supply. How to reduce the speed of DC motor? Simple question. एक DC मोटर है 5 वोल्ट का सप्लाई है, ठीक है. सप्लाई वेरिएबल है. कैसे स्पीड कम कर सकते हैं मोटर का? एक रोबोटिक्स में मोटर्स यूज होता है. मोटर का स्पीड कैसे कम कर सकते हैं? काफी बेसिक सा क्वेश्चन है, ये आंसर करना पड़ेगा. मोटर का स्पीड by controlling the voltage. So I am assuming that you are giving 2.5 volt, the speed of the motor reduced, but it has a flaw. What is that? एक स्पीड कम हो जाएगा, बट स्पीड के साथ साथ और भी एक फ्लॉ है जिस वजह से हम लोग ये नहीं करते हैं. नहीं. द थिंग इज अगर हम लोग वोल्टेज कम देंगे तो मोटर का टॉर्क भी कम हो जाएगा.
So that's why we use PWM. PWM देने पे एक प्रॉपर वर्ड है इसमें जो कि है एवरेज पावर, एवरेज वैल्यू ऑफ वोल्टेज. ठीक है, एवरेज पावर जो डिलीवर हो रहा है हमारे मोटर पे वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है. तो PWM के हेल्प से हम लोग किसी भी मोटर को स्लो कर सकते हैं विदाउट अफेक्टिंग इट्स टॉर्क, क्योंकि जितने देर के लिए उसको वोल्टेज मिल रहा है उसको अपना सफिशिएंट वोल्टेज मिल रहा है, सो उसका टॉर्क अफेक्ट नहीं होता है. So this is the reason we use PWM signals. We also use it for communication purpose and like controlling lots of sensor giving data to. But in general, if you will give like taking motor in example, this is what it can be used for. Duty cycle, okay, 50 if it is on and off time, 50%, 25%, I guess it's understandable. Okay, these are some of the Arduino shield. So basically Arduino is we एक कोई Arduino है नहीं लाइन है, ठीक है. So Arduino में हम लोग काफी सारे सेंसर्स कनेक्ट करते हैं, बट यहाँ पे एक प्रॉपर वर्ड है Arduino shields. So Arduino shield में क्या स्पेशल है, लाइक हम लोग Arduino shield क्यों प्रेफर कर रहे हैं. इन सारी इमेज से भी कुछ कॉमन होगा, लाइक इसको देख के क्या समझ में आ रहा है. थोड़ी देर पहले हम लोग Arduino Uno का बोर्ड देखे थे, ये शील्ड है. शील्ड और सेंसर्स में थोड़ा डिफरेंस है. शील्ड में क्या अलग है, कैन एनीवन गेस.
फील्ड में एक्सटर्नल सेंसर कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं.
डायरेक्टली भी कर सकते हैं. फॉर्म फैक्टर
If we are using more number of sensors, we
नहीं,
can
नो. सो नंबर ऑफ पिंस Arduino Uno में सेम है. शील्ड लगाने पे हम लोगों को पिंस इंक्रीज नहीं कर रहे.
वोल्टेज बढ़ा सकते हैं. नंबर ऑफ वोल्टेज देना है.
Okay.
15 तो नहीं है.
हाँ, मान लीजिए 5 डिजिटल पिन है, तो शील्ड लगाने पे वो 5 से ज़्यादा कैसे हो सकता है.
पांच सेंसर मान लीजिए, अगर
हाँ.
हम सबको उनके ग्राउंड देना है, मेरा सपोज
जी.
ग्राउंड एक ही है हमारा, उसके से
ब्रेडबोर्ड यूज कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो शील्ड बेसिकली लर्निंग के लिए Arduino क्यों Uno पॉपुलर है. सीखते हुए हम लोगों को क्या चाहिए, मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ वायर्स. जितने ज़्यादा वायर्स होंगे उतने इश्यूज है. शील्ड्स क्या होते हैं, शील्ड्स में काफ़ी तरह के होते हैं. कुछ सेंसर्स होते हैं, इसमें सिर्फ ब्रेडबोर्ड है, TFT है. शील्ड्स जो है वो Arduino Uno में डायरेक्टली इंसर्ट हो जाते हैं उसके जो पिन्स है. काफ़ी सारे अदर डेवलपमेंट बोर्ड्स अवेलेबल हैं. Arduino के भी छोटे फॉर्म फैक्टर में प्रो, मिनी, माइक्रो ये सब भी है जो कि लाइक एक USB ड्राइव के साइज के आते हैं. बट स्टिल जितने भी कॉलेजेस एंड अभी भी हम लोग Arduino Uno से ही स्टार्ट किए. हम लोग किसी भी हम लोग STM32 से भी यूज़ कर सकते थे. इंडस्ट्री में STM32 ही यूज़ किया जाता है, बट हम लोग Arduino Uno से कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वो सिंपल होता है. उसके लिए सिंस Arduino ओपन सोर्स हार्डवेयर है, बाकी कंपनीज उसके अराउंड काफ़ी सारे डेवलपमेंट्स बोर्ड बना दिए हैं ताकि मोस्ट ऑफ द चीज़, जैसे कि ये एक मोटर ड्राइवर है, अगर हम लोगों को मोटर्स को कनेक्ट करना है तो हम लोग डायरेक्टली तो नहीं कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. सो वी यूज अ मोटर ड्राइवर शील्ड. विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस शील्ड वी कैन कनेक्ट 4 मोटर एंड वी कैन कंट्रोल इट डायरेक्शन. So in this we have 2 motor drivers and a shift register with the help of which we can control the directions of all the 4 motors individually. So we have access to 4 motors. We have a TFT touchscreen with the help of which, like I said, earlier we used a display and buttons for interacting with our devices, but nowadays like we are mostly into smartphones. So if we add a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi functionality, we can simply use our smartphone with which we are all familiar with. Arduino Uno does not have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, so there is a Ethernet shield with the help of which you can connect it to the internet. There are Bluetooth modules also. Okay, so getting started with Arduino, let's move on. Okay, these are some better alternatives to Arduino. These are the ESP boards. So what's the difference between Arduino boards and ESP boards? Can anyone answer? Like, have you heard about ESP boards? ESP32, ESP8266. Arduino you all know about. No, yes, no, anything. Feeling sleepy after eating. Okay. So ESP boards are similar to Arduino boards, but with 2 major benefits. These have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth inbuilt. Most of the ESP boards, like there are mainly 2 popular boards that we use, ICs that we use. One of them is ESP32 and the other one is ESP8266. 8266, okay. So ESP32 has Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth. The size, we have a like ESP board. Like let me simply show you. So you are all familiar with Arduino board. So this is a ESP board. Very small in size, very handy. This is specially focused for robotics only. So what's the specialty that we use it in robotics? It has got ESP32. There's a Wi-Fi antenna there. We have a power jack. We have 2 3 pins there. These are the pins we can use to directly connect servo motors. For in this hand, if you will see, we have 3 servo motors. One servo motor is connected to the second. This is connected to the third, and only 3 wires are coming out. With the help of these 3 wires, you can connect. You can control 3 servo motors.
Is it connected in daisy chain?
See, I'm not sure about that. This project is.
It is supporting DTL. I mean,
No. It's not working on those protocols. Yeah.
It is TDL.
No. It's not. The communication protocol is not GPA. It is do you know, David, about this or no? Yeah, it is using serial communication only.
How many pins actually this is?
Okay, 3. So we can check. I'm not sure about it. So this board is we can connect 2 of these. We also have a display, so we can see most of the basic details. Since this has Wi-Fi, you can see the IP address, how many devices are connected, speeds and all that. And it is using Type-C because nowadays most of the devices are using Type-C. So this device is on, and you can see that all the details you can see, you can program it, and you can see all the details, necessary details that you need. So these are some of the boards. We also have VMOS Mini and other ESP boards. Yeah, ESP82. These were the ESP32 boards. These are the ESP8266. This has Wi-Fi but no Bluetooth. And form factors can be very small. I can show you a project that we've made with the help of this. So this is very small. David, lock it. Okay, तुम निकालो, मैं continue कर रहा हूँ. Okay, I will show you a device that was made with the help of this one. This is the motor driver shield that I already explained you. You can control 4 motors with it. This is a CNC shield, like I said that you can use it for 3D printer. Although Arduino Uno does not have sufficient computational power to control a 3D printer because it cannot handle the end stops. So it does not have enough input and output pins. But you can make a laser cutter or anything. If you remove the Z axis, you can use Arduino Uno to control a CNC device. Locket. Okay. So this is the locket that. Okay. So this is the locket that we open. खुला हुआ है. ये sealed है. नहीं था open. Okay. So we don't have open one yet. But inside this is this board along with a battery and a switch. And you can see its form factor. It is very compact. This device. This is actually a project. This is a locket. And there's a main device also. We will go through the project later on after going through these. Sensors and actuators. Sensors, I guess we all know what sensors is. It can detect the physical changes and produce output. We have IR sensor. Everyone is familiar with IR sensor? IR sensor can be used to do what? Can it be used to measure distance? Yes or no? No. What can it be used for? Can it be used to detect object? Can it be used to detect heat? Can it be used to detect colors? Not talking about black and white. Can it, black and white we all know that IR sensor can use. But can it detect red color? Can it detect blue color? Can it differentiate between red and blue? Black and white it can do, we all know. What about the other colors? Red, blue, green? Can it do? Yes, it can do. But that needs a lot of calibration. You need to exactly, we all know the reason it is used for very specific places is because calibration is a very tough thing. You cannot use it if you are using it in this lighting and you are fixing it, telling that it is a red, it can detect it. Maybe if you go outside, it won't be able to do. But if you properly calibrate it, it can differentiate between red, blue and other colors. This is the infrared sensor. It sends, there's a one transmitter, one receiver. You send a IR wave and then receive it and detect it. This is to adjust the distance. We have 3 pins, 5 volt ground and a digital output pin. So this can only detect whether an object is there or not. Why we cannot use it to measure distance? Ultrasonic sensor is also similar. I guess this is a basic test code for testing IR sensor. Okay, so basically pin mode we are telling whether which pin is input or output. Very simple coding, anyone can do it. You are just telling which pins are for input, which pins are for output, and this is for communicating using the serial monitor. This is not compulsory, but we are printing whether we are receiving the sensor data or not. So it will either tell you 0 or 1. If it detects an object, it will turn on an LED. It is a low level triggered. Most of the IR sensor are low level triggered. That's why it's written. If it is 0, it will give a high output. So this is also ultrasonic sensor. This can also be used to detect objects, but it can also be used to measure the distance. It is also similar. You have one transmitter, one receiver. But why IR sensor cannot be used to measure distance? Anyone has enough energy to speak? Why can IR sensor not be used to measure distance? Very similar thing. It's for everyone. Why IR sensor cannot be used for measuring distance? Ultrasonic can do. Speed of light. पूछ रहा हूँ स्पीड ऑफ लाइट 10 की पावर स्पीड ऑफ साउंड clock speed of Arduino Uno. It cannot detect when it comes. Since the speed of light is so fast, if it comes, if it reflects and come back, you cannot measure the time gap. So that is how ultrasonic sensor work. It sends a sound wave, it receives it, and since we know the speed of sound, we can calculate how much time it took, and we can know the distance. But we cannot do the same with IR sensor. That's why IR sensor cannot be used to measure distance. So this is a brief illustration with lots of text. This is a sample code. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is library in Arduino? Like if you will see this code is very.
Different functions are there.
Yeah.
Modules are there.
Yes. Yes.
So that you don't have to arbitrarily call that.
Yes. So if we will see the ultrasonic sensor, it has 4 pins, one for power, one for ground, trigger and echo. You can combine trigger and echo and use it also, because if you are sending a wave, you are not receiving at the same time. So you can combine both of these pins and you can change your program automatically, so that once you can use this as an input also and you can use this as an output also. So first you send a ultrasonic wave, it goes there, it comes back, you measure the time gap. But if you will see this code, this is a very simple code, because we are using a library, that is Newping library. With the help of Newping library, we only need to define some pins. You create an object, you put the trigger pin, echo pin and the maximum distance, and done. It will give you the distance. It's that simple. So that's why we are using library. But if you will write the code without using any library for ultrasonic sensor, it will take some time. We are using library because it is easier to debug our code. This is only a section of it. If you will go through codes of 400, 500 lines and you will try to implement everything on your own, if there is any problem, it will take you a lot of time to figure out where the problem is. But if you are using a library, you will at least be sure that you don't need to look at this section of the code, because it's using a library, and most of the time libraries are working. This is a basic circuit diagram. Sound sensor. How many pins are there? Only 3 pins. Okay, so I am not sure whether this gives an analog output or digital. There are a lot of different microphone sensors. Some gives analog output, some gives digital output. Depending on the project or purpose, you can use any of them. So a digital output one can be used for a simple clap switch. But if you are trying to process speech is it's not that easy. We are talking about Arduino Uno with only 16 megahertz clock speed and very less data. So, but still you can use Arduino Uno and a mic to detect some words, because you know some of the tones. In earlier days also, I am not sure whether you are familiar or not. Microsoft, you all know Microsoft. Since earlier when Microsoft was booming, it tried its hands on a lot of different places. That included a stereo. So Microsoft was making Windows. It tried to make an operating system for a car stereo. That car stereo can also detect voice, but it only detected voice of American people and of a specific thing. So yes, that device was not able to recognize voice of a lot of things. So at that time machine learning was not there, but still they managed to recognize a lot of words. With the help of this also you can like try to, although there will be a lot of errors in this, but we can make it. Soil moisture sensor, like in the morning session he mentioned that we are using IoT in agriculture also, like lot of plants, like people don't have enough time to feed water to their plants, so this is a soil moisture sensor. Although where can we research on? These are the things that we can research on. This sensor is very popular, and this has a major flaw. That flaw is usually it stops working in a few months. Why? Corrosion. This is not a proper design. It can be improved a lot for detecting the soil moisture. Its calibrations get affected as it's oxidized. So these are some of the places that we can actually research upon. For measuring pressure we have this temperature sensor. Accelerometer, we have this in our phones. But using accelerometer with Arduino has a lot of problem. Like if anyone has used this sensor, I'm assuming no.
I mean, since we have put experimental garage.
Yeah. So there is a problem, especially with the accelerometer when creating a project. Did you face any problem while using this
I
sensor?
use the inbuilt actually, that's the boss for AS20 sensor.
Okay. Okay. If you will use one sensor with Arduino, and if you will move it, what happens is, if you move it from there to there, it cannot detect that. This has a lot of error. Like the error is a very small amount, but if you will directly try to use it, you won't be able to. Even if because this can only detect acceleration. If you are trying to calculate the displacement, you are using some formulas. What happens is, even if the acceleration is 0.01, after a time, it cannot detect that it is at the same position or not. It can definitely be used to detect accidents, whether a motion is there or not. But for, if you are considering this, I have a video for this, but right now we try to make it working, but due to some reason it's not working. So that one is like very basic. In this we have sensors that you can attach it with your hands and you can control it. So we are trying to make it like so that we can control a lot of things remotely. Nowadays cameras are also being used to do the same thing. So we are trying to like make it step by step, so that first we go through the some basic motions. We can also use cameras. If you will use both, the error will be lesser. So this we are using in this gyroscope to detect the angle change. So we are using multiple sensors and we are checking the relative angle between them, with the help of which we can detect the position of the hand. Gas sensor, like this should be there. If you are trying to make a safety device, this is a must. Like with the help of this sensor, you can easily detect gas leakage at your home. If you are not at your home, you have a smart home, you have this sensor installed, you get a notification that the gas is on. Like it won't even cost you 20 rupees. These are cheap if you will buy in bulk, very cheap. Arduino, yeah, although Arduino is nowadays very expensive. Like if you will go to buy a genuine Arduino Uno, that costs around 1700. Initially it was available around 500, 600, but the genuine Arduino Uno is now 1700. The clones are there for 600-700. If you will go through a bit cheaper like VMOS, the VMOS is the ESP board. ESP boards are usually cheaper. You can have a 300 rupees ESP board, 100 rupees sensor, a power supply, and if you can add a lot of other sensor, and under 1000 device you have 1000 rupees, you have a safety device that can prevent a lot of things, that can detect fire, gas leakage. It doesn't take much. If you will try to write the code, it is very simple. DHT11 sensor, humidity, temperature, alcohol sensor, LDR sensor. LDR I guess everyone knows. So what happens when the intensity is low? The resistance is more or high? Okay. Then motor driver, lot of different form factors. This one is with the heat sink for handling up to 2 ampere. This can handle up to I guess 500 600 ampere without heat sink. Moving forward, we can control servo motor with the help of 3 wires, positive, negative, and a data. In the data, we are sending PWM to control the angle. With the help of this also, you can change the speed of motor testing. These are some important functional pin mode: digital write, digital read, analog read, analog. Okay, so analog write is missing here. We have a digital write, but we are not seeing analog write. We have analog write. We have analog pins in Arduino. Can we give output with the help of analog write? Can we give output to analog pins in Arduino? No, we cannot. Analog pins can only be used to detect the input values, not to give output. But still we have analog write. Why? Yes, to use the PWM pins to it does not exactly give analog output, but yeah, with the help of some additional capacitors you can make it analog. These are the variables like one byte, like different sizes, some conditions. Like if you are using a sensor, you obviously will be using some condition if else. This is a basic code, LED blinking. Okay, moving forward to the project. Okay, so this is a locket. You can keep it. You can put your keys in it. We have a main device. This is the device. Yeah, it can be made a lot smaller with the help of other things. So just as I said that a safety device can be made with the help of very basic things also. If you will see this one, this is a ESP8266 board, very small. We have a SIM module. We have a push button. Which sensor is this? Just crossed it. Which sensor is this?
Yes, sensor.
DST11 temperature and humidity. Okay, if I will remove this from the enclosure. On the back side we have. Okay, who can recognize these? Like since we have a battery, it is like pretty obvious to guess. We have a lithium-ion charger. Why we need a special circuit? Earlier on the old FMs we only had a transformer and a rectifier and that lead acid battery, no problems were there. Why we need this for charging and lithium-ion battery? LiPo chargers are also separate. If you will build a drone or anything, if you will come across LiPo charger, most of the phones now have the LiPo batteries. Why we need a special circuit for it? Okay. So in a lead acid battery, if it is the maximum voltage is if 13.2, even if you charge it at 14 volt, there won't be much problem. Although it is not good in the long run, but it won't have much problem. That's not the case with lithium-ion battery. If I will remove this battery, how many of you have seen this battery? That is 18650. In the old power banks, the Redmi ones, and these batteries were only used. In the old laptop, also these batteries were inside. 18650 very popular. Like in some cars also they are using. They used this earlier. Now they are not using this in cars. In mobile also lithium-ion was there, but now we have shifted to lithium polymer. This is the negative side flat. This is the positive side. We have holes there. In the positive side, if you will see it, 1860 it has holes. Why it has holes? Because it can blast. The holes are there to reduce the pressure inside if anything is happening, so that the gas can actually come out without this battery exploding. Improper voltages of charging, like nowadays we are seeing 150 watt charging for a smartphone. The chargers are bigger than the phone. Like if you will see the old charger, 60 watt charger, and nowadays is 200 watt charger. 200 watt charger is smaller than the 60 watt earlier chargers. So why we need? So basically, we need to charge it at a proper. Like initially, we use constant current and then we move on to constant voltage and then we charge, so that we can charge it at maximum speed without affecting its life cycle. life cycle, another word. Can anyone guess lithium ion life cycle of lithium ion cells? Usually 200 to 300 cycles only. So if you discharge it and charge it, it can only do for 200 times. Any questions in this? We are charging our phones a lot, obviously more than 200 or 300. That is also using the same battery. How it's still working? The duty cycle of sorry, you can only charge it for 200 or 300 times. But still, you are charging your phone. Some of us are charging 2 times a day. The phone is already 2 years old, but the battery is still okay.
It's the full charging.
Yes. So 200 cycles, that means 0 to the maximum voltage it can do 200 times. We are never going to the 0. The 0 percentage in your phone is not the 0 voltage of this battery. So for safety, we use it usually around 3.2 to 4.2 volts, I guess. So 3.2 to 4.2. So we consider 3.2 to be 0% and 4.2 to be the 100%. When to know that this battery is below 3 voltage? Like how will the circuit know? That's why we are using special ICs to know what is the current voltage. If it is below this watt, stop. If you are charging it at 4.2, if it is already full charge, stop the charging. So these are the things that we need to tell it. We are using, like if you will search how we charge this battery, you will find a lot of different graphs and you will exactly get to know that how we are actually charging. Why earlier we used lithium ion and now we have completely switched to lithium polymer in most of the cases. So because now we have proper electronic circuit that can maintain that curve of charging. We can continuously monitor the voltage of this. We can make proper changes. We can disable the outputs. Okay. This is a very simple device. This one is a charging module for the 18650 cell. We have a boost converter. Okay, so buck converter, boost converter. Are you guys familiar with buck converter? Okay. So boost converter is used to increase the DC voltage, buck to reduce the voltage, buck boost for doing both of them. Since this is like this battery can go down to 3.2 volt, but if you will see the VMOS, it needs 5 volt to work. That's why we have a boost converter. We also have a SIM module, but that's not connected to the boost converter. Any of you used SIM module earlier? Okay, so in IoT, the SIM module is like very first thing I guess we should start with. So SIM module, SIM needs around 2 ampere for the initial network finding. If you will use a boost converter and if you will see the traces of the PCB, that's not sufficient. We actually faced this problem a lot initially when we were working. Like this is a very simple device. Its working is also simple, but it took us almost 2 months to design the prototype, and still that has a lot of problems that we tried to fix it as much as we can. So the SIM module, first problem, it uses too much current. So that is directly connected to the battery after a switch. Problem solved. Trace weight also matters a lot in this. If you would have used this, you would have known some of the problems arising with it. When we went to Jamshedpur, this device stopped working. We were shocked that we had an exhibition that was like, if you don't have a working device, what are we showing? Anyone can show a PCB. We never actually moved it outside Jharkhand. We didn't know what the problem was. Apparently, it was due to the roaming. Nowadays, in smartphones, it's not an issue. Like you can go to any state in the country and you won't find any problem. Earlier we had to turn on roaming manually. This is uses a 2G SIM. This still needs a single line of code to fix that, to enable the roaming. But you need to write that. How will you know that? Like, obviously you can read about it, but if you will go and research, you won't, like this was not something that was very common to read. Like I was not able to find it. If you would have known this was a problem, we would have fixed it. But when we moved outside, we found a problem, we fixed it. You might be seeing this case. This case is also 3D designed by Saran, who I mentioned, who is not here. He is currently doing internship at ISRO, like working on the 5G tech. So this is 3D designed in the lab and it is printed in our lab only. The PCB there is designed, but it's not manufactured in the lab. Okay, a mic to hear the voice and transmit via the SIM. So this is enough with the what is this device for? Like, it's a very simple device, but what it is actually used for? Like I already told you, if you have a sensor, you can put it at your home. But I also told you that you can use a lot of other sensor and make it more functional. So basically, this is a device. You all have a SOS feature in your phone. Like if you press your lock button 5 times, it will automatically call 5 people. What if someone does not know how to, like smartphones now also have, like Apple Watches have accident detection and all, lots of features. What if this is a only focus for those people who are not familiar with the latest tech, who are not comfortable in using smartphones? Elderly people in the rural areas, shopkeepers. You will see that shopkeepers, like nowadays they are using Paytm and UPI. Earlier that was not so. One device, very popular, first started with Paytm, the sound box. That was a revolutionary change. Earlier, when the UPI was introduced, shopkeepers were hesitant. They didn't know how to check it. A simple device, it uses a SIM, it connects with internet. With the help of API, it can confirm the payment, and it is telling the shopkeeper. A very simple device, but it changed everything regarding with the UPI. If you will go to Manali, you will find UPI devices there. Even if you go to a village, you will find the shopkeepers there are also using a UPI. One simple IoT device changed a lot of things in payment. So, just like that SOS feature, this device is also for the same. If you have any emergency at your home, there's a button there, you can press it, this device gets activated. What happens when this device is activated? You can connect a siren there, You can connect a siren there, it will turn on the siren, it will send SMS to 5 people, and it will start calling them. If they receive it, they can hear what's going on inside the room. If they find that it's actually an emergency, they can take proper action. What if they cannot reach this device? What if someone is stealing something? They heard a knock at like break some window in another room. They cannot go to this device. What will they do? In case of shopkeeper, if the shopkeeper is not near this device, someone comes to rob, what can he do? He cannot reach the device. Useless. We can solve it. Simple locket. This can also be used to trigger this device. This is like, you will find a lot of safety devices like focus with cameras and AI, and it can detect a lot of things. With the help of locket, you probably won't find any such devices. So with the help of this, you can trigger it. So if you are away from your shop, if you have your keys, you can simply like put your keys out, and you don't need to, you just need to turn this on. Once this device is turned on, after 5 seconds, it will trigger this. Why after 5 seconds? It can accidentally be turned on. I mentioned it can SMS 5 people, it can call 5 people. How will you change the number? It stores the numbers. How can you change it? No. That will be hard coded. This device can go to any people. How will you change it? Simple. If they are not, like if they, this has a web page. This has a Wi-Fi, you can create a web page and you can set this device up. But if they know how to go through the internet, won't they use a smartphone for the same purpose? They can buy a smartwatch with the similar function. So, okay, I forgot where I was. I'm sorry. What was I just saying? How will you change? Okay. So basically, what you need to do is send it SMS. This has a SIM card inside. You have its number. You can send an SMS with a proper code, and it will automatically update it. So you can change the 5, and it will send you a SMS also confirming that it has saved the device. Like, thank you for registering. If there is a fire in house, this can detect it. Although this is not the ideal sensor for detecting fire, but we have tested it that it works. It needs to be the same room of fire, but yes, it can detect the change. You can set the temperature also, after which you need to know the temperature. This device can send the location. If any of those emergency happen, this can send you the location, exact location of your house. This does not have a GPS. How does it send location? This device is supposed to be installed at a home or a shop. You already know the location. You only need to send the coordinates once. Once you send it, it will store it. What's the benefit? If any emergency happens, you can simply forward the link, and the person will know the exact location. They can tap on it and they can go there.
what is the range for?
These are Wi-Fi connected 10 meters. So for a normal 3 BHK flat, it's fine. But if you have a bigger house and if you have a Wi-Fi router, you can connect it with the help of that also. But for small houses, it's not an issue. And
This one, this device one.
yeah, with the help of Wi-Fi, these two devices are connected.
ESP.
Yeah, both have ESP. This has ESP12, like in the hard it's also using the 8266, but in a very small factor, this is also using ESP8266. So these two are connected with the help of Wi-Fi. This is connected with the internet. This is IoT, a very nice IoT device example. You have the sensors, you have a development board, and you are using Wi-Fi for connecting these two. You are connecting this whole system with the other devices with the help of same. Okay. So this is a device. Okay. So this is a very simple circuit. Like if you will go through it, it doesn't have much. It has a ESP boards. You have a mic connected with the SIM module. Okay. You have a mic connected with the SIM module. You have some transistor. This is for like controlling the buzzer. Since I told you that it has a buzzer, this is used for controlling that only. Moving forward. This is a locket. This also has a very simple design. Okay. You saw a very nice PCB there, professionally made. This is a double-sided PCB. First, we in the testing period, we tested it. This is a self-made dual-sided PCB that we made in lab only. This is the locket. Locket was more challenging because it is very small, and this is also double-sided. So these two are double-sided PCBs that we made. This is a 10 rupees coin, and this is the circuit that we made. This is the initial 3D design that we did, and Jayendra sir helped us a lot in these designs, because if you are designing it, you won't know what's the problem in it. Like you are designing it, you will always think that this is a very nice design. I have designed it. I don't find any problem. If you will show it to someone, they will say that no, this is too sharp. We can make a changes. So making the device, Jayendra sir has put in a lot of effort in making this device. We also have another device which we initially said that if we are making electronic circuit, what we do? We make a box only. We always start with a box. Earlier we used to buy any tin box. We used to put the circuit in there. Switchboard, we put the circuit in there. But now with the technology, you have a 3D printer and you can put an enclosure in that. So another thing, this device was actually funded by UBA, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan 2.0. So they funded us. We pitched the idea that a device can be made. They approved it. Ayush sir helped a lot in the initial process. He was the one who actually applied for it, who did all the paperwork. So this is kind of the mass production that we were doing. So step by step, this is assembly soldering. We did all of these in our labs only. And now we have very interesting thing.
Previous lab can actually use for, can be used for wireless network.
Yes, it can be used.
We are using any
Yes.
medical sensors.
We can use it. See, the thing about this circuit is, it can be made a lot smaller. To be honest, this can be implemented at this size only if you have the proper resources. If you make a IC of the same, it will be smaller than this only. The sensor that we are using, this is completely replaceable. You can like right now we are only using, for the size we are using one sensor. If you think gas leakage is a more of an issue, you can change that sensor with gas sensor, make some minor changes in the code, and you can use it. For health monitoring also, you can use it. If you have some one sensor, if you have multiple sensors also, yeah, some changes would have to will have to make some changes, but yeah, that can also be done with this thing. So this is a step-by-step thing. Like first we didn't had a lot of sensor. Like our device was like the main device. We press the button, it turns on the buzzer. We don't even need a microcontroller to do that. We can do that with the help of a simple 555 IC. If you push a button and it will turn on the buzzer, if you turn it off, it will reset it. One simple 555 IC can also be used with this. So we started with the initial days, and then we thought we have a ESP. It has lots of input-output pins. We can use a sensor. We added a sensor. We thought, what if you cannot reach the device? We need something wireless. This costs around 150 rupees. What's it? 150 rupees. We added this also. You can connect it with wirelessly with the help of this. It still has a lot of issues that can be changed. Like we can use like we can make it multi-purpose. For example, right now it is only connecting with the outside world with the help of a 2G SIM. This also has a Wi-Fi. We can use the help of that. Minor code changes and you can make it compatible with Wi-Fi also. So next one is low cost automatic urinal flush system for multiple urinals using 8018 and 52. 8051 IC. How many of you remember 8051 IC? It's in the course of I think Pi, ECM and electronics, electrical, all of those has 8051. When we are talking about microcontroller, 8051 is very popular. I think in the 1990s it was first introduced. So this was a task. We could have made it with Arduino, we could have made it with ESP. A lot of functions could be added. But I was first new to this. So I did this in my second year. At that time I did not complete my microcontroller. Later on that subject came. So this IC was very old. Like initially when I programmed it, it was working. When I wrote some more lines of code, it said that memory reached. I cannot program it. So you have to make it more like you have to make the code simpler. So these are some of the functions. Multiple urinal simultaneous flush. Okay, so why this device? All of you might have gone to any public toilet. No one flushes it. If there is a tap, they will open it and all the water will finish. Some people will chew tobacco pan, they will spit it in the handle so that you cannot use it. Even if it is clean, you will not feel comfortable touching the knob. Unhygienic. That's why I tried this device. So if you will go to any mall, you will see that a urinal device is already there. Can anyone guess the price of that system? Like 1 unit, that urinal system that automatically flushes. Can someone guess its price? How many say under 1,000? 500, under 500. Under 1,000, raise your hand. Okay. Under 5,000? 1,000 to 5,000? 5,000 above? 10,000 above? 20,000 above? Okay. So if you will go through it, if you will buy a one piece, it will roughly cost you around 8,000 rupees. That simple unit that has a IR sensor, a solenoid, it costs 8,000 rupees. If you will buy in bulk, that will reduce to 5,500. 5,500 rupees for a device which has a IR sensor, a microcontroller, a solenoid, and a power supply. Can government afford that? In public toilets? No. What's the solution? We can make a device. So that was our task. Also, that has a microcontroller that is very powerful. Why we only have 1 unit per urinal? We can use one device for controlling multiple urinals, multiple solenoids, but single processor. That will reduce the cost. So that is the best. So multiple urinals simultaneous flush. The old 16x2 device that has a lot of modern things. You can even this locket. So this locket, multiple lockets can be connected to this device. You can change your name and a lot of things. Add your personal details to this, and in the SMS also, if you trigger with this device, that will tell who triggered it. Okay, so that will give some other information also. This is the old. This is not IoT device. This is a device. 16x2 display. Flush duration you can adjust. Flush time you can adjust. Manual flush button. You have 4 buttons. Basic menu. Decrement, increment, up, down, screens. You have info, screen, flush duration, left. Okay, boring. So this is the circuit that we used. Still a very simple circuit. You only have a microcontroller, a bus for the display. This display has a potentiometer for controlling the contrast. We have a clock circuit with 2 capacitors. Okay, and this is the output circuit. So this is a simple relay, a transistor for controlling the relay, and the switch buttons. Those are directly connected. No circuitry. They directly connected it with it, and some other input output devices for power and very simple circuit. This is Okay, so this is the 3D enclosure that was designed. Initially that was a rectangular box, but I like this design. David, do we have this? Yeah, so this design. So a display will go there, 4 buttons, and a flash button. What are the problems that can arise in a urinal system like this? People can smash it. Since it is in a humid area, we are also like the power supply can get damaged, connections can corrode. Okay, so this is the funnel. We went with a black and orange color with the display and this, and a simple solenoid for connecting it. Then, so yeah, this was the first lab that I was actually working on this project. Initial breadboard prototype, you can see multiple, lot of problem came. So since we are, just I told you that UBA we had to make it for villages, so we were actually had to make 10 of such devices. I never to be honest, I never worked on 8051, so I was not at all familiar with it. I bought a transistor, I tried to make it work, it did not work. Why? So what I learned is that in this Arduino Uno, you can give high, you can give low. Current almost similar for both high and low, pull up and pull down currents are same for that. But for 8051, that was not the case. It can give a lot of like pull down current, but it cannot give pull up current. So basically, I had to change the transistor series, okay, and then it was working again. So that was a problem that arose in this. Yeah, this all 10 of the devices that we made, that was the PCBs were made in the lab itself. That was actually very challenging. Initially, I thought that yeah, we can make it. It is a one-sided PCB. Since we are old, using a old IC, we can use the old tech to create a PCB. Like this is looking very nice. This was done with the help of laser printer. All of these were made with the help of laser printer, and yeah, this PCB and some photo galleries. Okay, so I told you that we were also working on a drone, like completely different side of it. So we were new to drone also. So you can see this is a basic quadcopter. We have a painting mechanism at the bottom. We were still working on the painting mechanism. Why don't we, like, if you will search it, like drones are available for a lot of purpose, agriculture, spy, inventory. If you will Google for painting, why there are no rules? You will see like it can be in chimneys. Like this project was sponsored by Tata Pigments and Tata Steel. They actually have a problem. They have a very high chimneys. How will they paint it? They have to make a complete structure around it because you cannot climb it. They have to make a complete structure around it, and then they have to paint it. Very cost consuming. Why they simply don't use a drone? Why no drone painting equipments are available? Yes, like you can guess, like why cannot we paint with the help of drone?
सर वो ड्रोन को बेसिकली एक स्पॉट पर मतलब अपना हाइट स्पॉट पर उसको स्टेबल रखना बहुत मुश्किल हो सकता है, इससे पेंटिंग इरेगुलरिटी आ सकता है, इससे ड्रोन को मतलब यूज़ कर सकते हैं, बट अभी इसमें बहुत दिक्कत है।
Okay, stability एक issue है. Okay.
Second thing is that chimneys having high temperature, not suitable for.
Yeah, but if you will paint it with hand also, you will have to turn that chimney off or something. If you are painting it with manually also.
Cannot bear
As
such a low rate of paint.
Yeah, that is a task. That is a challenging task. Okay, so those were legit things. How many of you have used spray paint? Can a lot of people have used compressed air and nozzle. You can simply paint it. That is one way. Like air, you are mixing air with the paint and like doing that. Other thing is without using air, if you have very high pressure paint, you can also do spray paint. When we are talking about the air one, if you will see any commercial, they have a huge compressor with them that they carry. And if you will go with without air, that is also a very powerful motor is required to do that, to push all the paint through the nozzle. So those are where the problem. this was our first test run, very like first like making a drone was a challenge because we were doing it for the first time, but we made it. Lot of tragedies, like we prevented lot of tragedies. But yeah, initially this is our first run, and we can immediately see what the problem was. This was the second time this drone I was flying this drone. You will see a lot of jitters, like the drone going back. That is not because of the stability. Actually, since this was the second time I was flying this drone, we did not have enough time to test it out. So, like, we were working on a deadline. We had a fixed place to build it. We did not have enough. Like, with this paint attachment, this was the first thing that this drone was. Lot of paint were going down. Yes, the first one. So I was scared that it will hit the wall. First problem painting it, that if you are manually flying it, it is very difficult for you.
हवा से
The tire is also.
और थोड़ा नजदीक
It is going to the right side due to the air. So it is not ideal. Like you need a proper. Okay, going with the problems. The paint not uniform. So we were like, this nozzle, that is a very cheap nozzle that is available online for cleaning the car. It's the same nozzle that we are using there. A dual diaphragm motor is there for the pressure. It is not uniform. The nozzle needs to be worked on. The thing is, when we are doing it, working on projects like this, we have very limited resources. We cannot design our own nozzle, go with like lot of CNC design and do it. So we have to find what's available around there and we have to make it. Although we had some proper the time we were still working on it. So we actually found a nozzle in the online one. If you will find nowadays, a portable spray paint machine is available. We can use the nozzle and other components of it. Next problem, if you are manually flying it, it is not possible. It is not possible. Like practically speaking, it is not possible for a common man to fly it at a fixed distance, because since I have flown a drone, there are a lot of things that you have to. You have to see the distance, whether it's going left, right, which direction you have to turn, up, down. All of that you have to control. So it's not possible. Although with a lot of practice, someone might be able to do that. But why we will do that much work? So we go, okay. In the second one, okay, so we were this was a prototype. Since drone is a very risky thing, we actually first made a quadcopter. This had a payload capacity of 2 kgs. 2 kgs, that means in ideal condition it can take 4 kgs, but it's recommended that we only use 50%, because we also have to go up. So while going up, it needs more thrust. So first we made a quadcopter. Then we found our first problem, that we need something so that if we maintain a fixed distance from the wall, resting is easy. If we will go left, right, up, down, it's still painting the wall. It's doing its job. It might not be a perfect job. We don't need a perfect thing. So it could have worked. So what we did, ultrasonic sensor. Why can't we use ultrasonic sensor can be used to measure distance. You can simply use ultrasonic sensor. It can detect the distance between it, and it can fly with it. So that was it, that we were having 4 and since we thought if we are using one ultrasonic sensor for the distance, why not use more 3 and make it collision proof also, that if you are flying it, if some obstacle came, it will detect it, it can control it. In the commercial drone DJI drones, these are there. They have all the sensor, it will not collide with the DJI drones. But doing that on lab, that was a difficult task. Why difficult task? You are using a remote to control the drone. You also have a other system for controlling the drone. How can you be sure that testing it, that if your code is not right, what that will do is it will bypass your remote, since you are emulating a remote only. When you are using ultrasonic sensor, you are telling it to go front back. You are replacing the remote with a fake remote. The problem, if your code is not right, you don't know where that drone will go. So for that, if you will, I'm not sure whether you are interested in the drone or not. Like we are using Mavlink. In the plane also we are using the same communication protocol. So we were finally able to like control the distance. Okay, this was very initial without the. Okay. I'm skipping that. Okay. So this is a very. अभी फिलहाल लास्ट स्टेज बाकी था सिंस वी टोल्ड यू दैट
एज बिकॉज़ ये टाटा स्टील का प्रोजेक्ट था तो उनके कुछ ये रहते थे क्या बोलते टाटा पिगमेंट्स के थ्रू आया था तो उनके कुछ मार्च अप्रैल में उनके कुछ वो होते हैं अकाउंट्स में चेक वगैरह तो उसकी वजह से उन्होंने लिया था जो थोड़े से बस कंप्लीशन के एंड पे था लाइक 90% के कंप्लीटेड बस उसको फाइनल टच देना बाकी था जो हिट एंड ट्रायल मॉडल्स जो अलग अलग इसने किया हमने वो सारे रेडी कर लिए थे फाइनल एक स्प्रे गन डिजाइन किया था बट उसको फिट करके एक फाइनल रियल टाइम में देने में बस ड्यू है तो आई थिंक इन सम मंथ दे विल गिव इट बैक वो जो उनका होता है जो अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट में चेक वगैरह उसके बाद बिकॉज फंड्स वहीं से हमें मिले अराउंड 2.5 लाख रुपीस
फिलहाल के लिए होल्ड पे है वो
क्या इंडस्ट्री जो प्रोडक्ट देती है इंडस्ट्री को चाहिए कि भाई एक महीना में मिले
R&D वो
उसका होता है कि मैं करता हूँ हाँ हमको 2 महीना में चाहिए 4 महीना में चाहिए हम एकेडमिशियन अब एकेडमिक में हम धीरे धीरे जैसे जो भी देख रहे हैं सारी चीज़ हम हाँ मतलब रूट लेवल पे उसको डिजाइन कर रहे हैं तो हम उनको 4 महीने में चाहिए 6 महीने में सर इतना भी हो गया मेरा मार्च मीटिंग आ रहा है ये आ रहा वो आ रहा जो है जिस कंडीशन में है मेरे को आजकल सब जगह क्या होती है ना कि काम कम और लाइबिलिटी ज़्यादा होती है कि मेरी भी लाइबिलिटी है सर मुझे भी आया ऑडिट वाले आने वाले हैं लेकिन ठीक है भाई अब आपका चीज़ जब आप चाह रहे हो पैसा आपने दिया पैसा मैंने खर्च किया चाह रहे थे उसका हैंड ओवर किया फिर उन्होंने भी चेंज नहीं किया मैंने भी चेंज नहीं किया चलो अच्छा
then we have designed the octacopter also ये जो quadcopter
ओके सो बेसिकली जितने भी सेपरेट पार्ट्स आपने देखा लाइक टोटल 3 नोड्स देखा एक प्लास्टिक का छोटा सा प्लास्टिक का इसलिए क्योंकि सेंसर्स ट्राई करना था मेटालिक फ्रेम गियर्स काफी चीजें लाइक कुछ भी डैमेज होगा
R&D तो वो प्रोसेस है
थोड़ी ये हुई कि हमारे स्टूडेंट थोड़े ज़्यादा ऑनेस्टली है रिटर्न करने में सब रिटर्न कर दिए हम यहाँ तो डिज़ाइन किया जो छोटा मोटा बड़ा यूनिट तो जो टेस्टिंग यूनिट पे तो उसको तो हमने पास रखना था है ना वो सारे चीज़ रिटर्न कर दिए कि सर उन्होंने कहा और इसमें मेरा मतलब ये भी नहीं आपने स्टे किया था और आप बता रहे हो कि इस पोजीशन पे आके कंफर्ट नहीं है कहीं
कंफर्ट है हमने कंप्लीट पूरा नहीं किया
कंफर्ट करने का मतलब है कि पर्टिकुलर पोजीशन पर इसमें हुआ या नहीं होगा इससे आप नॉट
that depends upon the spray और स्प्रे हम लोग उस स्प्रे पे ही R&D कर रहे थे सर
इस पोजीशन का एक लुक है आप उसको पर्टिकुलर पोजीशन पर आप स्प्रे कर सकते हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा ये भी नहीं है चार्ज भी नहीं है उसका क्योंकि आपने बहुत हाई तक पहुँच चुका है सिर्फ 1-2 वक्त
सर टू बी ऑनेस्ट लाइक अगर हमारे पास टाइम होता सिंस उस टाइम पे आई गेस हमारा एंसर्स आने वाला था ये इंडस्ट्री को नहीं पता चलता है
और इतना फोन आया कि बिना मेरे कंसेंट लिए ही सर अपना जो है सर चलेगा वहाँ पहुँच गया उसके बाद बोलता ऐसा भी आता ऐसा था तो क्या क्या सामान दे रहा था मैंने डिसाइड करता कि भाई तो उनको जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट था जो टेस्टिंग के लिए कहीं R&D के लिए देते मैंने तो बेकार किया था उन्होंने जो पैसा दिया सबका मैंने सिर्फ सामान का पैसा दिया क्योंकि बच्चे लोग काम करने का ये शौक था कि मुझे करना ठीक है कोई उसका एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट नहीं कि मैन पावर कॉस्ट क्योंकि इस सब के डेवलपमेंट में मैन पावर कॉस्ट सबसे बड़ा होता है आज के डेट में इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स कंपनी का कोई कॉस्ट नहीं मेन कॉस्ट है कि मैन पावर हम प्रोजेक्ट लाते हैं सर में 25 लाख का प्रोजेक्ट लाते हैं 5 लाख रुपया का सामान होता है 20 लाख रुपया जो GRS या सारे आपने ML का बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्कस करना था सर तो एकदम स्मूथ पोजीशन पर आ जाएगा
हाँ सो स्टेबिलिटी एक्चुअली में जब हमने पहली बार रन किया तो पूरा मैनुअली हो रहा था इसलिए स्टेबिलिटी का काफ़ी इशू था उसके बाद हमने ड्रोन टेस्ट किया और सिंस उसमें GPS है लाइक वो पूरा कम्प्लीटली मैनुअल था बट GPS के हेल्प से कुछ एक्सेस हम लोग कम्प्लीटली फिक्स कर सकते हैं स्टेबिलिटी का जो इशू था आजकल हम लोग जो पिक्सॉक जो फ्लाइट कंट्रोलर है वो सफिशिएंट स्टेबल फ्लाई कर सकता है ड्रोन को वो XYZ तीन एक्सिस फिक्स कर दिया, हाइट आपको मैनेज करना है, डिस्टेंस ऑलरेडी फिक्स हो चुका है।
वहाँ प्रॉब्लम होता है, जैसे सब हाइट जाएंगे एक पर्टिकुलर हाइट के बाद लिक्विड का पोजीशन चेंज होता है, बहुत दिक्कत होता है। इसके लिए आपको दूसरा मेथड अप्लाई करना होगा। आप जब भी ये बात आप रख रहे हो तो AI का 3 पार्ट का आपको डिवाइड करना पड़ेगा पर्टिकुलर हाइट वाइज, और उसके अनुसार आप चेंज करोगे।
So, उस project
बहुत
के-
अच्छा वर्क हुआ,
so, उस project के PI सारी
बहुत
है
जल्दी
और उन्हीं के अंडर गाइडेंस में हम लोग सब काम कर रहे हैं। बट लास्ट में हमसे वो मिस्टेक हुआ कि उन्होंने हमें हमसे ऑडिट के लिए मंगवाया और हमने सोचा कि तुरंत वापस दे देंगे।
उन्होंने
और
लाइक
थोड़ा
बोला
सा
था कि
stick-
ऑडिट खत्म होने के बाद वो रिटर्न कर
वो भी
देंगे।
हमारा थोड़ा सा एक
हम
मिसकम्युनिकेशन
लोग
हो गया, तो
क्या है ना,
हमारे
फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट जो होता है ना, खास कर अपना ये, वो उसके लिए मैंने समझता हूँ कि जो दिया उसको फिर से वो किसी से यूज करवा पाए। कोई भी चीज जब आप बनाते हो तो आप भी जानते हो, स्टैंडर्ड कंपनी का बना ले तो रोबोट मंगा ले, तो जब वो कंपनी सपोर्ट नहीं देगा तो दूसरी कंपनी कुछ भी नहीं कर सकती, सबका अपना सॉफ्टवेयर होता है। वही चीज है, उसमें कुछ भी नहीं कर पाएंगे, लेकिन सबका अपना होता है कि आप मेरा हो गया, खुश हो जाएगा, मेरा खर्चा ऑडिट हो गया, पड़ा हुआ किसी कोने में। वो फिर आइडिया फिर से हाँ, ये आइडिया फिर से कहीं से कुछ
So, जो कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आए थे, पहला वो नोजल का इशू था। नोजल का इशू हमने लाइक ऑलमोस्ट फिक्स हो गया था। लाइक पानी एंड पेंट के साथ हमने टेस्ट किया था, ड्रोन पे डाल के नहीं टेस्ट किया था। तो जो पेंट मैकेनिज्म है वो हमारा वर्किंग हो गया था विद द हेल्प ऑफ लाइक उसके फोटोज तो नहीं है, बट अमेज़न में आप सर्च कीजिएगा तो लाइक छोटे से गन आता है, उसमें लाइक काफ़ी सिंपल सा रहता है। BLTC एक मोटर रहता है, ठीक है, प्रेशर जनरेट करने का, एंड लाइक काफ़ी कॉम्पैक्ट सा। जो हम लोग करंट साइज यूज कर रहे हैं ऑलमोस्ट सेम साइज में, जो डुअल डायफ्राम मोटर था सेम साइज में, बट काफ़ी लाइक उसका जो पेंट का क्वालिटी है वो काफ़ी अच्छा था, जितना हमने विदाउट ड्रोन ट्राई किया। हाँ।
एक बार आप सक्सेस हो जाते हैं तो देखिए रिसर्च का ऐसा होता है ना कि हम लोग जो भी करते हैं, एकेडमी में जो भी करते हैं, जो सोचते हैं 1 2 3 आदमी, एक और काम कीजिए जो मार्केट में अवेलेबल है उसके साथ अगर मेरा ड्रोन कहीं ड्रॉप हो गया तो उसमें एक ऐसा चीज सेटअप होना चाहिए कि आफ्टर सम टाइम वो खुद ही अपने आप को सेट करके ये
Yes, so-
बहुत टफ नहीं है, बहुत इजी नहीं है,
नहीं सर, ये थोड़ा सा टफर साइड है।
थोड़ा सा ओरिजिनल पोजीशन का टेक्निकल पोजीशन
नहीं नहीं, सर कह रहे हैं कि अगर क्रैश हुआ
डैमेज हुआ कहीं रुका वो खुद अपने आप को
से कहीं रुका तो वो
एक्चुअली अगर वो लैंड हुआ है, लाइक उसमें काफ़ी सारे लाइक फीचर्स ऑलरेडी हैं।
बहुत सारे
फीचर्स इन द सेंस मान लीजिए कंट्रोल पे नहीं है आपका ड्रोन, वो ऑटोमेटिकली लैंड कर जाएगा। अगर वो किसी जगह पे लैंड कर गया है, ठीक है, तो टेलीमेट्री है इसमें, हम लोग उस ड्रोन को रिमोटली चाहे तो पूरा ही कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। लोकेशन भी दिख रहा है हम लोग को।
वो चल रहा होता है। अभी जो लेटेस्ट बचा हुआ है उस पर स्टार्ट करते हैं, बहुत अच्छा है। यही है कि अगर हमारा ड्रोन कहीं पे क्रैश कर गया तो उसको ही अपने आप को चेकअप करेगा। तो एक ही बार हम सारे कंपोनेंट नंबर यूज कीजिएगा, छोटा से छोटा कंपोनेंट यूज कीजिएगा, वो सही हो जाएगा। इसमें बहुत सारे वर्क हो चुके हैं, हो भी रहे हैं, और PhD के साथ लोग बहुत ज़्यादा आगे बढ़ाते हैं इसको। तो आप कोई
सो लाइक ये बेसिक सा लाइक बॉट था। बेसिकली प्लांट का ह्यूमिडिटी मेजर कर देगा। इसमें कैमरा इंस्टॉल्ड है, रास्पबेरी पाई। प्लांट के लीफ का फोटो लेगा, फोटो को प्रोसेस करता है, कौन से डिजीज है उसको डिटेक्ट करता है। इतना करता था। ये सबमिट हुआ था अनअकैडमी के कोई एक प्रोग्राम था जिसपे सबमिट हुआ था। उन्होंने लाइक इसको रिजेक्ट किया था। रीजन ये कि उसने कहा कि अगर प्लांट का डिजीज डिटेक्ट हो जा रहा है तो ट्रीट करने के भी कुछ होगा तो एक ही बार में सारी चीज़ें हो जाएंगी। तो वो बोले कि अगर वो तीनों चीज़ हो जाते तो ये काफ़ी अच्छा प्रोजेक्ट था। मतलब लाइक वो हैकेथॉन टाइप था, तो बेटर प्रोजेक्ट्स अवेलेबल थे, तो उन्होंने इसको नहीं सेलेक्ट किया था। तो लाइक ये भी लाइक काइंड ऑफ बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट था। ये कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट टीम इस पे, या ये इसमें IML यूज़ हुआ था, बट मैं इस प्रोजेक्ट में पर्सनली नहीं हुआ था। हाँ, ये टीम मेंबर लाइक सर एक्चुअली
सर टोटल 21 डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम का हम ह्यूमनॉइड रोबोट बनाएंगे जिसपे यस सर डिपेंडिंग अपॉन आवर सिचुएशंस अभी जो डिजाइन है सर इसमें अभी जो वीडियो में आप देखिए 1 डिग्रीज है बट सर हमारा जो रोबोटिक हैंड है टोटल 3 डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम पे अभी काम कर रहे हैं तो सर डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द सिचुएशन सर दैट इज द ओनली स्टार्टिंग पार्ट कि हम उसको सेंसर से रियल टाइम कंट्रोल कर रहे हैं slowly we'll move this is our R&D that's the same thing slowly we will design a complete humanoid robot we have the funds for it also yes sir yes sir yes sir yes sir yes sir yes sir
पूरे बॉडी का जो ह्यूमनॉइड रोबोट है उसमें 4 ही इफेक्टिव फॉर्म है उसके बाद जितने भी बॉडी का पार्ट है दैट इज सिर्फ सेफ के लिए अपने बॉडी सिस्टम को सेफ के लिए
yes
बट उस 4 सिस्टम को आप जब रेडी करेंगे तो डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है
definitely will perform
स्टार्टिंग फेज में 3 एंड 4 डिग्री ऑफ फ्रीडम को कंट्रोल अगर कर लिए तो उसके बाद सब सेफ सिस्टम
yes sir सर अभी 3 डिग्रीज ऑफ फ्रीडम वर्क किया है स्टार्टिंग किया है उसका वीडियो ग्लिच की वजह से नहीं आया आप अगर देखना चाहेंगे सर हम लैब में दिखा सकते हैं विद इन दिस 7 days yes sir
आप ये मत समझिए कि
and sir the thing is that the best thing is in this is everything is designed by us this the holders of the motor this hand also सब 3D printed है हमारे लैब में itself we haven't like purchased it from anywhere else आपको 3D printing वगैरह भी देखना है तो we can have a session there also कुछ एक टाइम स्लॉट्स निकाल के आपको वो 3D printing का एक बेसिक्स बता सकते हैं एंड इंक्लूडिंग दिस रोबोट्स पूरा वर्किंग आप जैसे आप खुद सेंसर पहन के वर्क करके देख सकते हैं
सर ये सब ऑन शिप में ऑनलाइन कर रहे हैं ऑन शिप ऑन शिप सर स्टूडेंट्स के लिए वो फ्री है और लाइक एज कम्पेयर ऑन शिप में लाइक काफ़ी सारे फीचर्स ना जो कि काफ़ी बेसिक है वो बहुत इजीली हो जाता है फॉर एग्जांपल कुछ मैकेनिकल लाइक सिंस हम लोग ऑन शिप में काम कर रहे हैं टीम बड़ा है कुछ लोग ऑन शिप में कंफर्टेबल नहीं है वो लोग दूसरे में ट्राई कर रहे थे तो लाइक एक सिंपल टास्क लाइक फिलेट ऐड करना तो ये सारी चीज़ें तो ऑटोडेस्क वाला
अभी कुछ
लाइक बोला
control
इवेंचुअली उसने एक दिन बाद बोला कि सर पॉसिबल
कंट्रोल होगा
बट ऑन शिप में लाइक इट इज वेरी सिंपल वन क्लिक एंड इट्स डन जितने कर्व्स ऐड करना था वो सारे कर्व्स को काफ़ी इजीली ऐड कर दिया था सो ऑन शेप लाइक अब तक काफ़ी अच्छा लग रहा है इजी टू यूज़ है प्लस लर्निंग कर्व उसका काफ़ी इजी है लाइक ये जो आपने प्रोजेक्ट्स देखा था वो यूरिनल फ्लश सिस्टम एंड ये वुमेन सेफ्टी डिवाइस ये दोनों ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 2.5 मंथ में लाइक पूरा कंप्लीट कर दिया गया था फ्रॉम स्टार्ट टू एंड सो लाइक जिसमें 3D डिजाइनिंग मैं कंप्लीटली न्यू था शरण था वो एक शरण ऑल्सो लाइक ही डिजाइंस प्लेस स्मॉल प्लेस वी हैव अ कंपटीशन फॉर दैट तो वो 3D डिजाइन में था बट मैं ऑन शेप में ट्राई किया तो इट ओनली टुक मी लाइक फॉर मेकिंग दिस बॉक्सेस इट विल टेक यू लेस देन अ वीक even if you give 1 hour it will take you less than a week to learn the basic tools although on shape सर उसमें काफ़ी automations and layers and वो सब आप कर सकते हैं काफ़ी कुछ ऐड बट लाइक बेसिक वर्किंग वो हो जाता था
हाँ तो आप अगर इस टीम से या फिर ऐसे कुछ प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड डिस्कशंस करना चाहते हैं तो यू कैन कॉन्टैक्ट टीम इनोरेवा हैंडल फिलहाल ही इज़ द प्रेसिडेंट एंड जैन सर इज़ द कोऑर्डिनेटर ऑफ दिस for this and like I am the mentor for this team तो आप डायरेक्टली जैन सर को भी कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं इनके अंडर अभी एट प्रेजेंट 4 प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं नेशनल लेवल प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो इनको ग्रांटेड हैं अभी और सर के यहाँ पे सर एक पेटेंट भी अप्लाई किए हैं फॉर दिस वुमेन सेफ्टी एंड विल बी मूविंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर 2 more पेटेंट्स दिस विद इन दिस 2 months नेक्स्ट मंथ रेडी है बट 1 by 1 विल बी गोइंग फॉर दैट पहला एक पेटेंट ग्रांट होने ही वाला है FER फाइल हो गया है देन स्लोली विल बी डूइंग दैट सो सर के अंदर अभी वही 3 to 4 प्रोजेक्ट्स कंटिन्यूइंग है एंड सर के ब्लेसिंग से ही हम ये सब प्रोजेक्ट्स जो भी है डिज़ाइन कर पाते हैं सर ही फंड्स वगैरह सर ही लेके आते हैं उसके बाद तभी हमको मिलता है कि उत्साह मिलता है कि हाँ पैसा है तो हम उस पर वर्क कर सकते हैं तो थैंक्स टू जैन सर फॉर दिस वी रियली फ्रॉम हार्ट एंड थैंक यू दिस इज अ रोबोट एक बेसिक वाईफाई कंट्रोल से हमने हाई करते हुए बनाया था.
Automated है,
Slowly we'll be upgrading it. Okay.
लाइक इनिशियली आइडिया के लिए हमें एमएसएमई को पिच करना था फंड्स के लिए, तो वो लाइक फर्स्ट प्रोटोटाइप था जो बहुत लाइक एटलीस्ट कुछ अगर प्रोजेक्ट के साथ कुछ अगर उनको वर्क दिखा दें तो लाइक फंड्स के लिए इजी होता है. तो ये काफ़ी बेसिक सा है, इसमें लाइक 3 सर्वो है एंड लाइक काफ़ी छोटा सा कोड है, बट एटलीस्ट इट वर्क्स. लाइक दे गेट लाइक दे कैन एटलीस्ट सी समथिंग, सो आई गेस दैट हेल्प इन लाइक गेटिंग फंड्स फॉर दैट प्रोजेक्ट. So in this project I am not much involved, like since I am in my final year, like placements will are also there. So right now one of my junior David who is there handling this project, and I guess that's it. If you can take take photos, I guess contact cell phone numbers are also mentioned there of them sir and our faculty members. My phone number is also mentioned there. If you have any questions, you can contact me on WhatsApp. That's it.
So guys, that's all for the day. So hats off for this guy's dedication, and for now I just like to call Jain sir, who is faculty advisor of Team Innodeva as well as coordinator of this event, to just have a like a token of gesture for Harshit. Excuse me. वशिंदर, थोड़ा सा पकड़ा दो ना सर को. So because of his dedication and for like giving lecture, hope like कि आप लोग को ये समझ में आया हो, क्लियरली हो. और अगर कोई भी डाउट है तो वी आर वर्किंग ऑन दिस कॉलेज इटसेल्फ, आप कभी भी कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते हैं. एंड इस पे डेविड भी वर्क कर रहा है हमारे साथ.
उम्मीद के साथ बना रहा हूँ इसको कि भाई इन फ्यूचर जाते जाते इस टाइप का कोई स्मार्ट वॉच भी हमारा टीम कुछ बना के जाए. भले इतना सॉफ्ट और इतना हैंडी तो नहीं होगा, बट जो फीचर्स हैं कुछ फीचर को इसमें जो है इनबिल्ट करें, क्योंकि ये सारी चीज़ें जो है बनती है, चीज़ों को छोटा करना बहुत बड़ी इंडस्ट्री का काम है. जो जैसे बताया गया कि वुमेन सेफ्टी डिवाइस है, इसको हम बहुत छोटा कर सकते हैं, लेकिन चूँकि यहाँ सब कुछ प्रिंटिंग, जो प्रिंटिंग है ये सिर्फ जो है 15,000 रुपीज़ का जो 3D एक मशीन है, जो कि इसने खुद ही खरीदा है, मेरे पास भी नहीं है. इसका खुद का मशीन है, काफ़ी पैसन है इसका इन सारी चीज़ों का. ये खुद का मशीन, मैं बोला कि नहीं सर मैं खरीद देता हूँ, नहीं सर मैं अपना खरीद देता हूँ सर, मुझे बहुत शौक है इस चीज़ का. तो मशीन भी इसका है, तो उसी से सारे चीज़ प्रिंट किए. अभी 3D प्रिंटिंग 10 लाख 20 लाख के आते हैं, उससे काफ़ी फाइन प्रिंटिंग होते हैं, हर तरह के मटेरियल यूज होते हैं, बट उसी से सारे चीज़ हमारा. तो इस बच्चे के डेडिकेशन के लिए और इसके अच्छे भविष्य के लिए काफ़ी कामना करते हैं, टीचर कुछ करे. और इसी टाइप का मैं चाहता हूँ, जैसा मैं देखा कि लोगों को नाम है कार्यशाला. कार्यशाला मतलब हम लोग सब मिलके उस पाठशाला में काम करें. कार्यशाला का मतलब यही होता है, लेकिन फिर भी आजकल कुछ ज़रूरत होती है, जो हमारा गाइडलाइन है, जिसके कारण हम बड़े बड़े लोगों को जस्ट उनसे हमें एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना है. कुछ इंडस्ट्री से आ रहे हैं, कुछ एकेडमिया से आ रहे हैं कि भाई वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं, हर कोई अपना अपना व्यू प्रेजेंट करता है. बट लर्निंग जो है एक्चुअल, चूँकि यहाँ जो भी लोग हैं, सारे लोग अगर एक फील्ड के होते कि नहीं, सारे लोग रोबोटिक्स फील्ड में ही अपना फ्यूचर है और PhD है, तो अलग बात होती है. लेकिन यहाँ जो हमारे लेवल हैं, हर तरह के लोग हैं, अलग अलग एरिया से भी हैं, और 60 या 65 एप्लीकेशन मिले थे, जिसमें से आप लोग सारे लोग सेलेक्ट हुए. और मेरा सिलेक्शन करने का एक ही क्राइटेरिया था कि ऐसे लोगों को सेलेक्ट करें जो आए. आप लोगों को कई बार फ़ोन दिया होगा, ठीक है ना. मेरा ये था कि मैं, कई लोग होते हैं कि जैसे अभी CSIR दुर्गापुर में भी एक वर्कशॉप हो रहा है रोबोटिक्स, वहाँ हमारा आयुष ने अप्लाई किया था. वहाँ के जो क्या कहते हैं, जो कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं, वो भी यहाँ गेस्ट में आ रहे हैं, मतलब स्पीकर में आ रहे हैं, लेकिन इसका सिलेक्शन नहीं. रीज़न, उन्होंने एक कमेटी बनाया, हर कमेटी में कर दिया कि बीटेक एमटेक के मार्क्स देखें, ठीक है ना. बीटेक एमटेक का मार्क्स देखेंगे, और उनका जो कट ऑफ था बीटेक में 9.05, जो उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि 9.05 पे 25 सीट फुल हो गया. मैंने उनसे बोला सर ऐसे कंडीशन में तो कभी NIT और IT के बच्चे तो आपके पास जाएंगे, IT NIT में 9 पॉइंट तो आता ही नहीं है. उन्होंने बोला क्या करूं मैं, गवर्नमेंट एक ये है, मैंने कमेटी बनाया और उसमें प्रायोरिटी एमटेक और बीटेक ही रखा, तो मैं है ना, तो 9.05 और मैक्सिमम जो है प्राइवेट कॉलेज के जो स्टूडेंट हैं, है ना, सिलेक्शन मैक्सिमम जो वो कर रहे हैं एमटेक और पीएचडी, लेकिन वहाँ सिलेक्शन उनका जैसा उन्होंने बताया बीटेक के मार्क्स के ऊपर।
उन्होंने जो सर ये है ना स्किल्स नहीं है फिर जिसके कारण बीएससी निकाला जा रहा है।
हाँ।
तो वही चीज़ है देखने को मिल रहा है।
तो उन्होंने बस वही है कि उस पर सिलेक्शन किया और बोला कि सर उनका उसका तो नहीं हो पाया, उसका उतना मार्क्स नहीं था बीटेक में, और हमारा जो कट ऑफ जो है ये रहा। ठीक है ना, अब उनका कमेटी है, कमेटी में डिसाइड गवर्नमेंट में होती है ना कि आगे गवर्नमेंट में जॉब होती है, तो हमारे क्या है बहुत सारे टेक्निकल पर्सन है, टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट वगैरह वगैरह। अब टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट का काम क्या है, लैब में हमारा लेबोरेटरी को मैनेज करना। हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे लोग जो कि 5 साल 7 साल से दिल्ली रेलवे में थे, मतलब जेम के थ्रू, मैक्सिमम का नहीं होता क्योंकि उनका एक्सपीरियंस था। लेकिन यहाँ जो क्वेश्चन होते हैं, क्वेश्चन यहाँ होता है सिलेक्शन जिसका आज के डेट में कि जो लोग दिन भर रट के पढ़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि थर्ड ग्रेड फोर्थ ग्रेड के जो जॉब है उसमें गवर्नमेंट का भी नॉर्म्स है कि भाई आप रिटेन टेस्ट ही रखना, वही आपका क्राइटेरिया है। वो स्किल है लेकिन उनका रिटेन टेस्ट में वो नहीं आया तो उनका नहीं हुआ, और रिटेन टेस्ट में जो भी आते हैं आजकल गवर्नमेंट जॉब में होता है, रिटेन टेस्ट में जो भी आता है, बीटेक आ गए, एमटेक आ गए, टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट, इवेंट टेक्नीशियन में कितने दिन रहेंगे, आज जॉब नहीं है, आ गए 1 साल के बाद फिर छोड़ के चले जाएंगे, और वो इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं ले रहे हैं कि ये क्या करना है सर, ये तो मेरा बस कर रहे हैं, बैठ के तैयारी कर रहे हैं। तो यही होता है आज के डेट में कि भाई स्किल जो है खासकर गवर्नमेंट में, लेकिन प्राइवेट में आदमी है कि आजकल जॉब तो इंजीनियर्स में मैक्सिमम प्राइवेट। आजकल जैसे आईटी के इंजीनियर बोलता है कि भाई गवर्नमेंट जॉब करना कौन चाहता है, कोई आईटी को नहीं देखा होगा गवर्नमेंट जॉब करते हैं। इवन आईटी के जो अच्छे लोग होते हैं, बहुत लोग डीएमएसपी भी नहीं बनना चाहते, ठीक है ना, कि सर क्या करेंगे सर, वहाँ जब 2 नंबर काम करेंगे तब तो कमाएंगे, और जब प्राइवेट में रहेंगे तो सैलरी मेरी 50 लाख 80 लाख से शुरू होगी और मतलब 5-10 साल में करोड़ों में ऐसे चल जाएंगे, तो पैसे की क्या करेंगे। आज टाटा स्टील्स में जो एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं, जो सवेरे चीफ आया था, नहीं समझते उनकी सैलरी 5-7 लाख से कम होगी महीने की। लेकिन अभी मैंने न्यूज़ पेपर में पढ़ा था कि वहाँ जो नरेंद्रन है और उनके नीचे के भी कई लोग, उनकी सैलरी मैंने उस समय जाना कि करोड़ों में उनका पैकेज है, 15 करोड़, उसके बाद उनको ये मिलता है जो मैंने सैलरी है 5 करोड़ और 10 करोड़ और इंसेंटिव जो होता है, उसका लाभांश जो होता है कंपनी में, मतलब साल के 15 करोड़ 20 करोड़, तो गवर्नमेंट में कहाँ से कमाएगा। तो बात यही है कि जो आईटीएन है, जो अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, गवर्नमेंट जॉब करना भी नहीं चाहते।
जैसे आपका क्राइटेरिया स्किल्स बेस्ड और प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड तमाम शायद सीएसआर के जो मेंबर आएंगे उनको भी आपको सीखना पड़ेगा।
इसलिए मेरा ये था कि भाई मैक्सिमम लोग देखिए, उनकी यहाँ स्थिति अलग थी। उन्होंने बोला सर मेरा CSIR लैब है, यहाँ जनरली वो कंडीशन नहीं होती जिनका भी सिलेक्शन हुआ। हमको सर सिलेक्शन हुआ, लेकिन सिलेक्शन में मान लिया कि उनका बीटेक में मार्क्स है उस आपके एरिया के नहीं है, लेकिन वहाँ जाके तो क्या लैब है, ठीक है ना। मेरा ये था कि भाई पहले उनसे इंटरेस्ट पूछो किस टॉपिक का। हालांकि बहुत लोग उतने मुझे नहीं मिले, सेम फील्ड में काम करने वाले उतने नहीं मिले, फिर भी मेरा ये था सेकेंड कि जो आए मेरे, इसीलिए मैंने सबसे आप लोगों से ट्रेन टिकट भी मांगा कि आप टिकट भी भेजो। मैंने आपके क्या कहते हैं सर्व को भी मेल किया, सजेशन दिया कि सर इन फ्यूचर, और देखिएगा आज में कल अपना सिस्टम बदलेगा। इस सिस्टम बदलना इसलिए कि सर इस टाइप के जो होते हैं 10 जो लोग होते हैं जो कभी वेबसाइट को देख लिए 10 जगह अप्लाई करें, शायद आप लोगों ने किया होगा कि वेबसाइट देख लिया 10 जगह अप्लाई किया, कहाँ होगा नहीं होगा, किसी को गोवा हो जाएगा तो पहले तो गोवा जाएगा, कि वर्कशॉप होगा भाई गोवा में होगा, या कोई भी उस टाइप की जगह में होगा जहाँ घूमना है, तो शिमला में होगा, मनाली में होगा। अगर उस टाइप की जगह में अगर कोई कॉलेजेस हैं तो वहाँ लोग पहले जाना प्रीफर करेंगे कि जाने आने का फेयर मिल रहा है, रहना खाना मिल रहा है, चलो यार वहाँ चलते हैं। तो फिर जो हमारा फॉल्स रेट तो बहुत कम हो जाएगा जमशेदपुर जैसे शहर में, कि यहाँ कौन आना चाहेगा, किसमें क्या यहाँ घूमने के समय कोई चीज़ है नहीं। तो इसमें जैसे अटल कोर्सेज आप लोगों ने किया होगा या नहीं किया होगा, अटल के जो कोर्सेज थे उसमें एक क्राइटेरिया था कि सिर्फ आप 2 ही वर्कशॉप में अप्लाई करें। पहले आपको पोर्टल में रजिस्ट्रेशन करना होगा, रजिस्ट्रेशन में आपको कोई 2 वर्कशॉप चुनना होंगे, 10-20 वर्कशॉप दिखेंगे, आपको कोई 2 चुनना होगा, सिर्फ 2 ही में कर सकते हैं। उसके बाद फिर उन्होंने रिलैक्स किया कि भाई फिर 3 में मैंने अलाउ किया, सिर्फ 3 में आप कर सकते हैं, मैंने एक सीजन में आप 2 या 3 से ज़्यादा नहीं कर सकते। लेकिन यहाँ है कि कोई ऐसा उसमें बाध्यता नहीं है, लोग 10 जगह 20 जगह कर दिया, और मालूम हुआ कि कई जगह ऐसे कोर्स भी हो रहे हैं कि भाई 25 लोगों ने अप्लाई किया, 25 का सिलेक्शन किया, पहुँच रहे हैं सिर्फ 10, बाकी लोगों ने नहीं सर ऐसा है वैसा है, उनको कहीं और जगह मिल गया, दूसरी जगह मिल गया। तो मेरा यही क्राइटेरिया था कि आप लोग आएँ और आप लोगों के लिए जितना बन सका इंस्टीट्यूट में मैंने एकोमोडेशन, थोड़ा सा तकलीफ है, मैं समझता हूँ कि एक रूम में 3 को रहना पड़ रहा है, बट आप गेस्ट हाउस की कैपेसिटी देख रहे हैं। अगर एक कहते कि सर आप रूम बंद किए हुए और मुझे नहीं दे रहे हैं, तो मैं कहता, ठीक है ना, तो वो थोड़ा सा होता है, ठीक है ना। और चूँकि एक रूम जो है वहाँ जो जिसमें डायरेक्टर या हमारे चेयरमैन जो होते हैं वो रुकते हैं, और एक रूम और बगल में क्योंकि कोई इंस्टीट्यूट के गेस्ट आए, जनरली कभी भी किसी वर्कशॉप में आज तक नहीं दिया गया गेस्ट हाउस का यूज़ करने वाले। आप लोग पहले वर्कशॉप की भी जहाँ स्टूडेंट वर्कशॉप में आए हैं, आज तक नहीं दिया गया। इतनी गर्मी थी इसलिए मैंने स्पेशल रिक्वेस्ट करके कहा कि नहीं आप उसको दीजिए, उसका पेमेंट मैं करूँगा, मुझे पैसा है, मेरे पास पैसा मिला है, मैं इस पैसे से उसका पेमेंट करूँगा। लेकिन फिर भी गवर्नमेंट का क्या होता है कि भाई गवर्नमेंट एक मतलब प्रॉफिट मेकिंग नहीं है कि वर्कशॉप हमें उस गेस्ट हाउस से अर्न करना है। उनका होता है कि भाई कल को मेरे कोई 2 गेस्ट आ गए, मैंने बोला उनको सर जिस दिन उसका के गेस्ट आएंगे मैं एडजस्ट कर लूँगा स्टूडेंट, ठीक है ना। भाई मान लिया 2 दिन हॉस्टल में रहना पड़े, हम 2 दिन हॉस्टल में रख लेंगे कुछ लड़के, ठीक है ना। ऐसे वो 7 दिन हॉस्टल में रहते हैं, बाकी 2 ही दिन में रहेंगे, इसलिए ऐसी स्थिति आ सकती है। मे भी ऐसा चांसेस कम है, लेकिन इस टाइप की आएगी तो आप लोग से कोऑपरेट का उम्मीद करते हैं कि आप लोग सहयोग करें। क्योंकि कोई इंस्टीट्यूट गेस्ट आएंगे, किसी का वाइवा होगा, कुछ होगा, ऐसे हम लोग प्रीफर करते हैं। जैसे एक भौमिक सर हैं, वो उसी में रुके हैं, मैंने उन्हें प्रीफर किया सर आप नौहाटा चलिए, ठीक है ना, वहाँ आपको खाना पीना सब कुछ ईजी होगा। बोले नहीं मैं प्रीफर करता हूँ इंस्टीट्यूट। रात में मैं आया उनको नौहाटा में, वहाँ मतलब डिनर करवाया, उसके बाद यहाँ लेके आया। बोले नहीं मैं पिछले बार आया था, मैं नौहाटा में रुका था, बहुत अच्छा होटल है, लेकिन मैं इंस्टीट्यूट ही प्रीफर करता हूँ, जितना टीचर हूँ मुझे अच्छा। तो कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि नहीं यही प्रीफर करते हैं। डायरेक्टर सर ने बोला कि नहीं, जो डायरेक्टर वेणुगोपाल आने वाले थे उनके लिए भी बोला कि नहीं गेस्ट हाउस में रुकाइए। हम सर वहाँ कौन देखेगा, उनका टेक केयर कोई स्टाफ उस टाइप का नहीं है। बोले कोई बात नहीं, हो जाता है। क्योंकि डायरेक्टर सर खुद भी उसमें जब आज ज्वाइन किए थे तो 10 या 15 दिन उसमें रुके थे, फिर गेस्ट हाउस में, उसके बाद फिर बंगला में गया तो वहाँ रेनोवेशन का काम। सो थैंक्स टू ऑल फॉर कमिंग एंड बाहर में चाय आपका इंतजार कर रहा है।
Sir, really, it's my pleasure to join this Karyashala और
और-
बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका।
थैंक यू। और इसमें ऐसा भी है कार्य, इसमें हाँ मैंने बोला कि कार्य का पाठशाला है। आप भी अगर अपने फील्ड में कोई एक्सपीरियंस है, आपने भी कुछ किया है, सेकंड सेशन भी इसी के लिए है लंच के बाद का, ठीक है ना। आप लोग प्लान कीजिए कोई अपना कुछ एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहते हैं, ठीक है ना, तो 3 बजे से लेकर 5 बजे 6 बजे 7 बजे कोई इसका रिकमेंडेशन नहीं है, ठीक है ना। अपना अपना एक्सपीरियंस इस फील्ड में कुछ किया है तो दिखाना चाहते हैं तो देखें, ताकि एक दूसरे से लोग रहें, ठीक है ना। जैसे ये है कि स्टूडेंट हमारा बीटेक का स्टूडेंट है, उन्होंने यहाँ तक काम किया है, और सीखने के लिए कुछ ये नहीं होती है कि बीटेक है, एमटेक है, पीएचडी है, ठीक है ना। आप भी अपना एक्सपीरियंस जिनके पास नहीं है, अपना एक्सपीरियंस आधा घंटा 1 घंटा 10 मिनट 5 मिनट आपने अपना मतलब शेयर करें। अगर कुछ है इसमें मन में अपना पीपीटी बना लें, जैसे भी हो कुछ अपना शेयर करें, ठीक है ना। आप इसी और उसके लिए पहले जो भी हमारे आयुष या किसी को आप इन्फॉर्म कर दीजिए कि हाँ सर मेरा एक है